Just like you, our company is specialized. We make awesome technology designed to make it easy for independent retailers like you to have a website that really works. But to know what really works and what doesn't, we have to look to your customers, the end consumer that's shopping for a new appliance or piece of furniture. This video describes our recent research study that did just that, and what surprising things we learned along the way. Here at RWS, we talk to business owners every day. They tend to look at tasks, like building a new website, by asking questions like, what's my budget? What do I know how to do? And what's easy for me to do and sustain? But this video is not about how easy or quick the web can be. It's not even about our web product. It's not about you or us at all. This video's information is all about your potential customers. What do they want your site to be like? What do they want to do when they're there? What makes them call you, come into your store, and decide to spend their money with you instead of someone else? Most importantly, we wanted to research what happens when your website doesn't meet their expectations. To find the answers of these questions, we designed our very own research study. It took us just under 6 months to complete and included surveying over 1,400 real-life consumers. In total, we collected just under 60,000 data points and then went to town analyzing them every way we could. The results were fascinating. We think about websites all day, every day, and we design the research from the ground up. When we launched the first batch of surveys, we thought we had a pretty good idea what the results would look like. But when they came in, they were full of surprises. They even inspired us to make changes to our own company's website. Expect that some of this information might be uncomfortable. We designed this study to be an unflinching look at consumer behavior. We asked hard questions, and we got some hard answers. But despite the surprises or discomfort, this information is powerful stuff. It can illuminate how to make your website truly earn its keep and drive your bottom line upwards. And it can provide you with peace of mind and confidence that the tasks and strategies you may already have in place are taking you down the right path. This information is truly the difference between just having a website and having a website that will keep you in business and grow your profits. At the end of this video, you may learn you're doing a great job with your web marketing. If that's the case, we commend you. Lay down your doubt and your hesitation and keep doing what you're doing with greater confidence and peace of mind. Or you might discover that you're failing and losing out on lots of potential customers' business. My advice? Don't waste even 1 second feeling bad about it. Use this new knowledge as a tool to move on and take action to correct it. You owe it to yourself, your business, and all your employees to understand your potential customers and execute on great marketing that will win their business. Now, it doesn't mean that doing so is always easy. You might have to do more work on your site than you currently are doing. You might have to switch website providers. You might have to try a new strategy that you're not entirely comfortable with. But this research and this information will give you the data and the confidence you need to make informed decisions on whether or not those difficult tasks are worth the resources it takes to execute. Now that we've got all the context for this research, let's talk about how and why it was designed. First, retail websites are a marketing activity, and marketing is all about interacting with your prospects. Every day in your brick-and-mortar store, you're generally dealing with customers. These are people who've already bought from you, or they've pretty much already decided they will be buying from you. But your website is instead communicating with folks that haven't yet decided where they're going to buy that next big purchase for their home. These are your prospects. A prospect is nothing more than a potential customer. When you want to sell more stuff, you have two choices. Either get better at selling it so your close ratio improves, or increase the number of qualified prospects you have a chance to sell to in the first place. Marketing is all about the latter, getting more qualified prospects to interact with your business and into your sales pipeline. Because of this, every prospect has a monetary value to your business. You can determine what it is by using this simple formula. Take your store's average ticket size and multiply it by your average profit margin. Then multiply that by your average closing ratio. Remember, this is the percentage of time that you close a qualified prospect. That's someone who's ready to buy a product that you sell and has the money to do so. The number that results is the average value of every qualified prospect for your business. These qualified prospects are already out there. This value is just a measure of how much it's worth to you to get each individual one of them into your store, so you've got a chance to sell them your product. Now, every store will have a different and unique value for your prospects, depending on your marketplace, product mix, profit margin, and how good your staff is at closing sales. We asked 15 industry experts to give us their estimations for these values and average them together. Their estimations averaged out as shown on your screen. Now, your prospects might be worth more, they might be worth less. The important thing to remember is that they are worth a significant amount of money. And you know this in your gut because you're probably not selling to everyone out there in your marketplace that's buying. And earning those people's business is really important to your incremental revenue. Since we wanted to learn all about these folks, we talked to them. We talked to a lot of them. 1,468 consumers participated in our survey, which was done both online and by telephone. There were no statistically significant differences found between those surveyed by either method. We asked them to tell us their age and gender, their household income, the location of their town, and how many people live in it. That last part's important because zip code data alone is not always representative of your entire buying area. For example, I live in 85254, which Google tells me has about 50,000 people in it. But I consider myself a resident of the Phoenix metro area, which has over 4 million residents. And I definitely shop outside of my little zip code that only covers a few square miles. This research is really the first of its kind to include such a large sample size, which allowed us to analyze data by demographics. Here's how our survey respondents break down by age. We tried to eliminate consumers under the age of 18, though a very small handful slipped in. You can see the prime buying years for appliances and furniture are very well represented. Here's the distribution of survey respondents by household income. You can see a wide range was touched, including those in poverty and the very wealthy. The distribution of income mirrors the overall distribution of income in the U.S. population. Now here's an area where our survey participants do not mirror the general distribution of the U.S. population. We took special care to make sure our survey touched a wide variety of consumers in very small towns. You'll see why later. Notice that our largest group of consumers were from towns of more than 250,000 people, but our second largest group was from very small towns, those having less than 5,000 residents. And we surveyed people from everywhere. On your screen is a map of the U.S. with a marker for the hometown of every consumer who participated in our research. Now overlaid on that map is a map of the U.S. population in general. Notice how closely this parallels our survey respondents. Rest assured, this survey touched your prospects, wherever they may be. Besides the large sample size, our research is unique and unprecedented also because of its specificity. Research comes out on consumer confidence and retail in general, but you know that buying big-ticket items like furniture or appliances for your home is just not like other retail transactions. Our research was specifically about how consumers shop for appliances and furniture. Most questions had multiple choice answers, so we could analyze them statistically, but we also allowed consumers to add their own comments. It wasn't required, and we instructed them to only do so if they felt very strongly about a question. Having both the statistical results and their comments allows us to better know our prospect, both intellectually and emotionally. And since selling is an emotional activity, that last part is really crucial. We found some interesting trends in what people think and how they behave. The research shows that not everyone behaves the same way. They tend to be broken into camps. So, for example, there's a group of people out there that only cares about the lowest price. But what was interesting is that these camps were evenly distributed. So yes, there's folks out there that only care about price, but they don't all live in one place. This means something pretty profound for your business. Retailers often tend to picture your proverbial customer as just one person. Usually they're an amalgamation of all the worst traits of all your customers combined. But that's not what the research shows us. The research shows that you have groups of prospects that behave differently from one another. Since you can't be the right thing to all of them, this data helps you identify how you can be the right thing to the biggest and most profitable group of those prospects. So we hear this a lot. My customers already know me. Go ahead and raise your hand if you agree with that statement. Don't worry, this is just a video. I can't see you. If your hand is up, you are absolutely correct. Your customers, unless they suffer from short-term memory loss, definitely know who you are. They've bought something from you. The real question is, do your prospects know who you are? That sounded like a really interesting question, so we asked. We asked consumers to name every single place they could buy furniture in their town, and then every place they could buy an appliance. We then painstakingly analyzed the results and tallied up how many of them were able to name an independent retailer that sells those things. Here's what we found. If you sell furniture, less than half of your prospects know who you are. And if you sell appliances, I'm really sorry about this, but less than 20% of consumers were able to name a single independent retailer in their town. No matter where you live, there are people in your town that you don't know, and they don't know you either. On top of that, you never really get to speak to these people. They don't come into your store, they don't know your staff, and they've never bought anything from you in the past. Without data like this research provides, you'd never really have an opportunity to talk to these prospects about what they want from a retailer like you and how you can earn their business and turn them into a customer. Now, since we have such broad data, we can take a really interesting look and see if there's any trends in this information when it comes to demographics. So here's a graph of all the consumers that knew an independent appliance retailer, broken down by age. You can see there's a slight bump as you get to the older side of the chart, but there's no statistically significant trend here. Young or old, most consumers don't know independent retailers exist. And here's the percentage of consumers that knew an independent appliance retailer by household income. Again, no real change. Most people weren't able to name one, no matter how much money they made or didn't make. And here's where things got really surprising for us. Check out the percentage of consumers that knew an independent appliance retailer, broken down by size of town. There's absolutely no difference between those that lived in a really small town, less than 5,000 people, and a big city. This was something that really shocked us. we assumed that even though not everyone would know a retailer in a small town, that more people would, and that we'd see a gently sloping downward curve as the population grew. But no matter what size town your store is in, there's a huge amount of prospects that don't know independent appliance retailers exist. Here's how the same question stacked up for furniture retailers. This is the percent of consumers that were able to name an independent furniture retailer, broken down by age. No major changes or trends here. Here it is by income level. Again, there's little noise in the graph, but no statistically significant trends. And here it is by population. Again, how likely someone is to know an independent furniture retailer is virtually the same in small towns as large cities. Look at all the white space on the graph. That's all opportunity, prospects that don't know you but could become your new customers. So now that we know that most of your prospects don't already know who you are, our research asked them how they'll find you. We asked them super specific scenario-based questions. For example, we painted this scenario. You open the fridge and it's not working. You've already decided that the next time it breaks, you're replacing it. So how do you go about finding an appliance store that you'll shop at? When it came to furniture, we painted this scenario. You just moved into a new home in a new town, and next on your to-do list is decorating by buying new furniture. How do you find the furniture store that you'll be shopping with? The results were really similar for those two questions. In both cases, around 90% of people reported they would start with an internet search. 3 to 4% said they would ask a friend, which includes using social media. Just under 3% would use the yellow pages. About 2% would look for a circular in the newspaper. And about 1% would go somewhere that they had seen while they were driving around. Let's see how this shakes out by different demographics. This is who would do an internet search to find you, broken up by age. As you can see, there's no real change based on different ages. And here it is, broken up by income. Again, there's basically no difference. And here it is broken up by population. Again, this was surprising to us, but it didn't matter if these consumers lived in a super small town or a big city. They still overwhelmingly started their shopping experience with an internet search. Okay, so at this point, some of you watching may already have a problem. Since most prospects don't already know who you are, and they're going to start looking for you with an internet search, if you don't have a website and one that shows up really well in those searches, you've got some work to do. But since we were already talking to these consumers, we continued on to ask them about what they want to see and do on your website once they get there, and how they react to certain common situations. We asked them, does the quality of the design and professionalism of a website's design impact your likelihood to make a purchase from that store? A surprising 83.6% said design matters, and 16.4% said no, it really didn't matter to them. Now tuck that 16% number into your memory. We're going to see it again, maybe even a few times. Here's who cares about the quality of your website's design, broken up by age. There's a bit of a dip over the age of 60, but the rest is really steady. And here's who cares about design, broken up by income. This is super even across all these demographics. And by population. Again, it didn't matter if they lived in a super small town or a big city. Consumers overwhelmingly care about the quality of your site's design. What really surprised us is how much they care. Remember how I said we allowed them to add their own comments, but only if they felt really strongly? Well, 91% of our survey respondents took the time to voluntarily comment about this question. It was the most commented on of the entire survey. These comments provide incredible insight into how your design makes prospects feel. This 44-year-old man from Minnesota said, "A well-designed website is like a well-designed brick-and-mortar store. It seems more professional, and it makes me feel more comfortable." Notice the line this customer draws between a website's design and other seemingly unrelated aspects of the business. And look how much emotion is in this statement. He's making a determination about how professional the business is and whether or not the business makes him feel comfortable. This young woman said, "If a website is not easy to use and professional, what is the store going to be like?" Again, she draws a straight line from the website to the brick-and-mortar store experience. If I'm looking for a design-related object, like furniture, I certainly would be a little leery if the company's website was ugly and poorly designed, because it wouldn't make me trust their buyer's aesthetic sense. Look at these emotions. A bad design makes them feel leery, and as a result, they don't trust the business. This young man from Pennsylvania wrote, "Professionalism lends credibility and makes me feel more secure than I'm purchasing from a reputable vendor." Again, lots of emotions like credibility, security, and reputation. This research teaches us something interesting and profound. The quality of your site's design really matters. We learned it with our head by looking at the statistics, and we learned it with our hearts by reading some of the hundreds of comments these consumers left. If your site's design isn't great, 83.6% of your prospects will leave and go to your competitor's site instead. And every time that happens, you might as well take a $100 bill out of your wallet and light it on fire. They're going to spend their money elsewhere. We also asked them about product data. We asked, when researching an item for your home on a store's website, how important is accurate and complete product data, like pictures, dimensions, details, and product features? 79.2% said it was very important. About 18% reported it was important, but not everything. And then a very lonely 1.8% said it wasn't very important, and 0.5% said they didn't care at all. Here's a graph of who thinks product data is very important or important, broken down by age and by income. And here it is broken down by population. Again, no real changes here. Just about everyone cares deeply about product data, no matter where they live, how much money they make, or how old they are. This woman put it really simple and to the point. I want a one-stop shop. If the company really wants to sell an item, they need to have all the necessary information for the consumer. I like the details of an item to be shown. I like knowing that the retailer understands more information is better than not enough. It is a matter of customer service. See how this woman has decided how good she thinks the store's customer service is based solely on the quality of the product information on their website. The leaps we see consumers make are huge and really surprising. They're definitely not fair and probably not even accurate, but they are consistent and they're really happening all day, every day. Nothing says emotion like all capital letters and multiple exclamation points. This man wrote, "Not offering further exhaustive information for appliances is simply lazy and unprofessional." Ouch! Look at these emotions. This man is deciding he thinks this business is lazy, and unprofessional because they don't have exhaustive product information on their site. It's kind of hard to win someone's business when they think you're lazy. Since your prospects care so much about great product data, what does that even look like? Here's an example of what great appliance data looks like. It's everything the manufacturer has on their site and then some. Sometimes retailers will ask us, I don't know why I have to have all the product data on my own site. Can't my customers just see it all on the manufacturer's websites? That's tempting, but in actuality, your prospects really can't see all the information at the vendor's website. They can't see your special offers, like rebates. They can't see how much it will cost them to get it delivered. They can't look at multiple brands side by side and easily compare them to find the best product. The data is clear. Prospects want the retailer site to show them everything about your products. And here is an example of great furniture data. Again, your prospects can't get all this information from the vendors. It's way too much work, and how do they compare across brands? They need your site to help them do that by showing multiple product pictures, documents about the items, the collections it belongs to, similar products, and more. Your prospects should be able to see all this great product information no matter what type of device they're using to interact with your website. Like this prospect that's watching videos on their tablet. And here's another example of great product information. And again, here's a great example of appliance information. Now, your prospects may assume that having great product data on your website is pretty easy. But actually, it's really difficult. Here at RWS, we have 13 full-time employees that are solely focused on product data, 40 hours a week. This doesn't include our staff that is sometimes focused on product data, like some programmers that make all the tools to house the data. Understanding the best way to classify and normalize product data across hundreds of brands is the key to making it easy for end consumers to use. It's really hard to do, but it's really powerful when you do it well. Let's have a moment of silence for our poor, brave employees that devote their entire professional lives to product data. And this is how much their annual salary adds up to. Not all the equipment they use, not adding in benefits or anything else, just salary. If you're out there trying to do this huge, complex task all by yourself, we feel so badly for you. It's so hard and so expensive. It's basically impossible for any one independent retailer to take this task on all by themselves. This research has taught us something. Great product data really matters. We learned it with our heads by looking at the stats. And we learned it with our hearts by reading those comments. If you don't have awesome product data on your site, you're deeply frustrating or completely alienating over 97% of your prospects. Every prospect you disaffect, you might as well take out a $100 bill from your wallet and light it on fire. Here's something we asked that we were really surprised by the results. We asked our survey takers, you're shopping on a website and the on-site search is not very good. What happens next? An amazing 72.8% reported they would leave the site and go to a competitor's instead. 25% said they'd keep shopping but they'd feel frustrated. And 1.5% didn't care if the search didn't work. They'd continue on. You might ask, how often do my prospects even do a full text search? It's the first thing we asked. The answer was a lot. We looked at all the sites we run, over 1,000 of them, and found that 66% of visitors that looked at more than one page performed a full text search. We were shocked by this number. Here's who cares about search accuracy by age. Surprisingly, it looks like it trends slightly upward as consumers get older. And here's who cares about search accuracy by income. It's pretty even here. And here it is broken down by population. Again, no great variation. And here's what people had to say about it. This man from Chicago said, "This is very annoying. A site that can't be bothered to have a functioning search engine on their site is a site I don't want to deal with." Look at the emotion that an accurate search inspires. It's not pretty. If the search tells me the products aren't there, I'll assume the store doesn't have it and move on. Now this is a really important quote because the most common way search breaks is by returning no results at all. So let's say you search for couch, and the search doesn't understand that a couch is the same thing as a sofa, and so it returns no results. The consumer will think that you don't sell any, and they'll be gone. Here's a great live example of how search often breaks, like that last customer talked about. Let's try to find a dining room table. No results are found, even though the site definitely does have dining room tables on it. How about an Energy Star dishwasher? Again, no results. Now this site was not made by RWS. It's actually made by one of our competitors. But it's very representative of how poorly search works on most sites in this industry, whether they're made by this competitor or another competitor, or even made by the individual store themselves. Keep in mind, these searches are totally reasonable, and it is possible to do them well. Here are the same two searches done on an RWS webfront, where you can see they both return accurate results very quickly. This 33-year-old said, "That would be a huge red flag of an incompetent company. Look at the line they draw. A search that doesn't work equals an incompetent company." Why do you waste time adding a search if it doesn't work? It's like asking an employee in the store where something is and getting, I don't know, lame. Again, such strong emotion. It's really hard to win someone's business when they think you're lame. Now here's the thing about search. It's actually pretty difficult to do well. Our company has put a tremendous amount of time and money into honing the accuracy of our search, and we assumed everyone else does this too. But when these results came in, we took a look around at sites retailers had made for themselves and sites made for retailers by some of our competitors. We were shocked. We struggled to find any at all that had working search. We're not talking about crazy hard searches either. Try searching for something like stove. You really should be able to get an accurate result. Or a search for glass table. Again, we could find hardly any sites other than our own that returned accurate results for this search. Or black refrigerator. All these searches do work on RWS sites, but on most independent appliance and furniture sites, these searches failed miserably. This research has taught us something. The accuracy of your site's full text search really, really matters. Don't take it for granted. Pause this video right now and pull up your site. Do some of the searches we showed you. You might be shocked at the results. We've learned how much search accuracy matters with our head by looking at the stats, and with our hearts by reading the comments. If 66% of visitors to your site will do a full text search, and 72% of those will leave for your competitors if your site's search is broken, that means you could be losing 48% of your visitors. Every time that happens, take out another $100 bill and light it up. Your prospects are gone, and spending their money with someone else. Remember at the beginning of this video, I mentioned we took an unflinching look at what your prospects want. Well, here comes the unflinching part. We asked them, how do you feel and what do you do when a site you are shopping on does not display prices? 84.5% said that they would move on to another site that did have prices. That's a pretty stark figure. About 15% said they would stay, but they'd be frustrated, and 0.5% doesn't care. Now, remember, there's that roughly 16% number once again. Here's the percent of consumers that will leave your site and go to another if you do not show prices, broken down by age. And this graph shows the same numbers broken down by income level. And here it is by population. This one's pretty clear. No matter who they are, 85% of folks need to see prices on your site in order to stay put. And the comments that people had about this particular question were really fascinating. This woman from Illinois said, "I find it shady that a retailer would not disclose prices. I don't want to get my hopes up on a product to only find out it is out of my price range." Check out these emotions. If you don't show prices, they think you're shady. And this woman is worried about getting her hopes up and then being let down. If a site will not show the price, it indicates to me that the prices are too high. This comment is so telling, and we saw comments like this one over and over and over again. I talk to retailers every day that tell me, "Jenny, I'm afraid to show my prices online. I'm worried that they might be too high." Well, I can now eliminate your worry. Go ahead and don't show prices, and you don't have to guess what the result is going to be. You're guaranteed that your prospects will think they're too high. No more guessing about it. This man said, "I gotta know the price. Price is about half the point of shopping. Plus, I find that a little sketchy if a seller doesn't display their prices. What are they hiding?" Again, look at these lines. No prices equals a sketchy business. And they think you're hiding something. Notice that this consumer thinks price is really important even though it's obviously not the only important thing. He thinks it's only about half of what's important. Or very simply but elegantly put by this 71-year-old man from California, no prices, no shoppy. And you can just hear the emotion and the sarcasm dripping from this comment. Here's a few quick examples of what engaging pricing looks like on a retail site. You should be able to see it no matter what type of device you're using. And it's especially important on mobile. We also asked these consumers about showrooming, and we learned that 50% of them had showroomed in a retail store the last time they purchased an appliance or piece of furniture. And of those that hadn't, 30% of them said they planned to the next time they shopped. So on a consumer's smartphone is the last opportunity that you have to reach in and influence a prospect that's ready to buy. Just imagine this. You may have a prospect right now, this very second, that's in Best Buy. Maybe they are currently being underwhelmed by the knowledge and helpfulness of the 19-year-old that's trying to sell them a $2,000 appliance. So they pull out their smartphone because they want to know where else they can buy this appliance. And if they go to a better expert, like, say, an independent appliance store, how much more is that going to cost them? If they can find you on their phone and answer those questions, you have an opportunity to reach in and earn that business, to snatch it right from your competitors. But if you don't have a way to connect with them and answer those questions on their smartphone, you'll never have that opportunity. Since now you know how important prices are on your website, it really highlights how important it is that it's A, possible, and B, easy for you to set those prices in the first place. So many retailers don't realize that they need to ask about the pricing tools when they're shopping for a new site, but later on it can really come back to bite you. This is why we work so hard to provide our customers with the Webfronts app that makes it really super easy to price your products and to keep them up to date. But no matter what tool you're using, make sure that you can and that you know how to set those prices, keep them up to date, and change them. So this research has taught us something, that showing prices on your website matters, even though doing so can be uncomfortable. This really surprised us and caught us a little off guard. When we got these survey results back, RWS did not show the price of our products on our own company's website. Why not? Well, because we had the exact same fears you do. Our product isn't always the cheapest. We were worried that our prospects might see our price, think it's too high, and never call us. It also was just downright hard and complicated to get it done. But this data was so compelling that we bit the bullet, and today, because of this research, the price of all our products is right there on our own website. We learned it matters with our head by looking at the stats, and we learned it matters with our heart by reading those comments. If your site doesn't have pricing, at least some pricing, take out that $100 bill and light it on fire every time one of those 84% leaves for a site that does. Now we just couldn't resist asking this next question. Since we had just asked these survey respondents if they needed to see the prices, we also asked them if they only cared about the lowest price. We asked, when making an appliance or furniture purchasing decision, do you make your decision based solely on price, or are there other important factors? And here's what we learned. Remember that 16% number? Well, here it is. About 16% of consumers care about one thing and one thing only, the lowest price. These were the exact same 16% that didn't care about your site's design or whether or not your search worked, because they only care about the lowest price. They're out there, they do exist. But remember, there are also over 80% of consumers that care about more than just getting the lowest price. Here's a graph of those who care about more than just the lowest price, broken down by age. There really was not much variation here. And here it is broken down by income level. Now, this is just purely amazing to me. Even people living in poverty care about more than just the lowest price. And in the comments that I'll show you soon, you'll learn what some of those other things are that these people care about. And here it is broken down by population. So this 41-year-old woman from Kansas City wrote, "Customer service and quality are a must. I want to buy from a retailer that stands behind its service and products. If it's not right, I want it to be corrected. I'm willing to pay a little more for better customer service." So this person has told us straight up, they will pay more, but in order to do so, they need great customer service and quality. Now, this research that we've been looking at, it's given us clues all along the way about how you go about convincing these prospects that you have good customer service, that you're a safe business to work with, that you have quality and pride and integrity. Remember, these prospects drew those conclusions based on the quality of your site. All those emotions that your site's design, the completeness of your product data, the accuracy of your search, whether or not you showed prices, those were the things that inspired the emotions that will make a prospect decide if your business has the qualities that they're willing to pay extra for. And this woman wrote, service, delivery, installation, warranty, quality, price are all important to me. Notice that price comes last. And I love this one. A cheap price often gets you what you pay for. Warranties are really nice, especially for more expensive purchases. So warranties are really nice. They're nice for you, and they're also really nice for your prospects. They're telling you so right here. But if your website doesn't tell them all about your warranties, it's going to be very difficult to attract this type of customer. And this is the exact type of customer that you really want to have. Remember, you can't really make any money selling to someone who only cares about the lowest price. These are the prospects where you have the most opportunity to make a good margin. And this 60-year-old gentleman from Pittsburgh put it really well. He wrote, reputation, quality, and timely service are just as important as price. And remember, all those things that this prospect wants comes back to how the quality of your site makes them feel. The research has taught us something. There are a lot of prospects out there that care about more than just paying the lowest price. And they decide if you have the qualities they'll pay extra for based on the quality of your website. If your site doesn't make them feel comfortable, secure, and well cared for, you're not appealing to the 84% of prospects that are the most profitable. Every time that happens, take out another $100 bill and light it up. We were pretty surprised by what high standards consumers reported in our study. So after we completed our first batch, we went back to ask an additional question. We wanted to know just how many sites will prospects visit when they're shopping for new appliances or new furniture. So we randomly asked respondents to write in their answer to that question, and we supplied each of them with $1 range of how much that imaginary purchase would end up being. We learned that the more they're going to spend, the more sites they'll look at. And the numbers get huge. For example, if you want to sell a lot of tickets in the $1,500 to $3,000 range, your prospects plan to look at between 9 and 10 websites while shopping. That means that your website has to be the best or as good as all those other 10 sites in order to end up winning that prospect's business. At the beginning of the video, I previewed that there were really just two possible outcomes from watching this. You might have learned that you're doing a great job at meeting your prospects' expectations. And if that's the case, we are so happy for you. What you can do now that you've seen this research is you can lay down any doubt or hesitation that you might have been feeling, and you can continue on doing what you're doing. If on the other hand, you've learned that you've got some work to do, don't despair. There are lots of ways that you can succeed. If that's the case, spend some time with us. We've got more research that we didn't have time to fit into just this one video, and we'd love to share it with you. We can also help you evaluate your current site and how it's stacking up to consumers' expectations. We can also take the time to learn about your goals and determine together if we're a good fit to help you get there, or maybe another direction would be best for your business. We're also already really hard at work on our next research project. So if you've got a great idea that you would love for us to include, we'd love to hear it. You can learn more about our company and our products by visiting our website, retailerwebservices.com. And by the way, you can also see our prices now that we learned how important it was from this research. You can also call us at 1-800-417-2799 or email us, info@retailerwebservices.com. Thank you so much for your time.